No, see, I'm going to forget the full name. The new dinosaur in this one. What's it called?
The Indominus Rex.
Indominus Rex. Is it iRex? Like an iPod?
There's a lot of iPhones in this movie.
Is there? I didn't even...
I feel like there's a lot of...
I was probably looking at my iPhone most of the time, so I didn't catch it.
Lots of phone. I had a grand time where I had this on in the background, and I just played Ark Survival Evolved and hung out with my own T-Rexes in the game. I had a grand time. I was like, this is great.
So we enjoy this film if you're not directly looking at it. Kind of like the sun. If you stare at it too long, it hurts your eyes.
I was at my desk, so I was like...
Star Wars, Transformers, Godzilla, animation, whatever else. Rebels, robots, and etc.
Well, we made it through June-rassic Park, but here we are in July-rassic World. It's Starformersaurus night. Welcome to
wow.
Rebels and Robots and Raptors, episode 82. I'm Cameron.
And Rachel.
And this is our bi-weekly chat about Star Wars and
Transformers.
And whatever else we both want to talk about. That is currently the Jurassic Park franchise, which is mostly just one movie we want to talk about and 5 other films we forced ourselves to talk about, with the asterisk of JP3 is quite good.
And two books I really
And 2 books. The books were a fun addition, but we're out of the books. Now we're just an appeared Hollywood goop.
I guess we could read the junior novelizations.
I feel like those might be quite different than Crichton's original intentions.
I'm into the Jurassic World trilogy.
Say again?
Of the Jurassic World
Yeah,
trilogy.
I know, but like as far as like books about Jurassic Park, they are not going to be the same as Crichton.
Junior.
Yeah. So we're starting July-rassic World with Jurassic World. Hence the name.
Yeah.
The schedule kind of worked out funky. We're doing this. Then next week we're doing the new one, July-rassic World, July-rassic Rebirth. What is that? I was killing time to come up. I couldn't actually remember the full name. I have a
Rebels and Robots and Rebirth.
No. Interesting. Yeah, well, we want doing the new Jurassic World movie next week, and then we'll do Jurassic World 2 and 3 after that. Man, what a crappy way to end it. We were originally supposed to do all of them in June.
We just record the new one and then we don't release it until afterward.
That's See, I like the idea of getting it closer, but we could wait. True. We could wait to release it.
But the impending dread of Fallen Kingdom and Dominion won't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the issue is if we drop it after, there's a new Superman movie coming up, and that's all I'm going to want to talk about from there on out for the rest of the year. So, but
Miss Lane,
there's a whoa, that came out of nowhere.
I've seen the trailer.
There's an alternate universe where they release one episode of Andor a week and we're still covering it. But then we would have started Jurassic Park earlier. So there's an alternate universe where we've been covering Jurassic Park since May, but also Andor every week.
There's an alternate universe where we would have to sit with the Gorman Massacre for 7 days.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to remember when Andor started. Was it April 16th or 9th?
Wasn't like the first?
I thought it was month door, but month door went into May. I believe it was the 16th.
I think you're right.
I'm just really curious now.
Because it was the last 4 weeks of my class, and I was like, how am I supposed to work in these conditions?
Andor season 2 started on April 22nd. So it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Episode 11 would be coming out tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
And then episode 12 would be next week. So it literally would have been for us, the last week of Andor would have been Andor and the new Jurassic World. That would have been an all-time episode.
That would have been a 4-hour episode.
That would have been a crazy episode. That would have been one we had to have Caleb on. But regardless, this is the first time since before my vacation, since month door, I did not hear what you said.
Since before time began.
No. This is the first time
Where was the
since
cube?
before vacation, since month door, that it's just the two of us. We've had guests on the last 2 episodes. So it's this is a harsh movie for us to talk about.
I know, by ourselves.
We'll get to it. I'm not.
We have our editor.
That's true, but she's always here. no
She's
matter
always
what.
here.
Before we get to the topic, as always, news, woos and boos. I don't know if there's a ton of news. I don't have any news.
I don't have any news.
Okay, Sorry, go ahead.
It's not news, but it was interesting. So we've talked a lot about how Andor and Chernobyl trade actors back and forth.
Yes.
I have a complete list of Chernobyl actors that were in season 1 and 2 of
Well,
Andor.
with lack of news, I think this is a guess good enough. Let's hear it.
So we're gonna start out with a lesser known actor named Stellan Skarsgård.
Sure, yeah, the little guy no one knows about.
I don't remember all the names, but he's probably Admiral Sherbina. He's the main politic guy.
He's your main
Buddy Coppin.
like government official for the Russian government. Unlikely ally to the main character.
Yes. Alex Ferns, he is the Scottish cop in Andor season 1, and he's the naked miner ER in Chernobyl. He's the head of the coal miners. There is a nurse in Chernobyl named Pandora Collin, and she also plays a nurse in the hospital in Andor season 2.
Hilarious. That's great.
Alison Pargeter, she has a very minor role in Chernobyl. It's when the main lead female scientist goes, and I think to the mayor or the head of the institute, and she's trying to be like, there is a huge nuclear incident. She looks to his assistant and goes, take your iodine pills.
Yep.
She is one of the villagers on Mina Rao.
Wow.
I don't know if that's Brasso's not girlfriend. I don't think it is. Lucy Russell, I think she was another female character, another like assistant secretary in Chernobyl, and she is an ISB agent.
Good.
We have Joseph Davies, who I did not recognize this man at all. He's just one of the random soldiers Chernobyl sent to go kill all the animals that are left. He's the redheaded man that dies in One Way Out. The jail. The prisoner, that's the word I'm looking for. Robert Ems, that's our man. Not Kino Loy. That words are hard. Lonnie Jung. He's one of the main reactor guys.
Yeah, of course.
Kieran O'Brien is the character in Andor season 1 that gives his ship to Cassian.
Okay.
He's a reactor worker in Chernobyl.
Of course. Is he one of the ones that like has to go out and look at the open reactor?
Oh my gosh, he might be the most irradiated man. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Oh wow, that's a lot of vowels.
Calphione Dune either looks like I think she's a nurse. I think she would have been one of the nurses in Chernobyl. She is the ISB agent that was geeking out about how good the rebel spies. We have Adrian Rollins, who is one of the owners of the Chernobyl plant, one of the guys in charge, and he was also a prisoner in Arkina 5. Ron Cook, a random Chernobyl plant worker. Is the random guy with the funky little hat at the end of season 1 when Luthen is on the shuttle.
That's so good.
And then we have Alex Blake, who these are actor names, by the way. Alex Blake, who is in the first couple episodes. He was called to the big meeting once Chernobyl blew up, and he is, I think, Cyril's boss before Cyril had that position.
Okay.
Anyways, that's 12 people, all from Chernobyl, scattered across the cast of Andor. That's just a very large Venn diagram.
Yeah, no, that's great. To add to that, I heard this on a podcast recently, and I just confirmed it. His name is Luke Hull. He is the production designer for both.
Yes, I knew that too. I think they shared a lot of overlap in the producing too.
This man has also not worked on anything else since Chernobyl. He worked on Chernobyl and one other thing in 2019, and then has only worked on Andor since.
Bangers. Can you imagine? Andor and Chernobyl very much give the same gritty vibe.
Sure, of course.
So I would not be surprised if when they were producing Andor, I don't know if Tony Gilroy would have been in charge or whoever said, you get me the team from Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm. I'm really, do you know what, honestly, this is the best case scenario because there's an alternate universe where
Chernobyl didn't happen and we wouldn't have a great show.
Where they all went with the creator to Last of Us.
Oh.
And I'm not having any hate on Last of Us. I try to watch Last of Us. It's okay. I'm not that interested in it. I'm much more happy that they worked on Andor and made Andor how amazing it is, rather than, I mean, that could have happened. That very much could have happened, and maybe we would be raving about Last of Us rather than, people do love the Last of Us show, but I'm glad Andor got the team that it did.
It's a little more divided.
Sure. Yeah. The season 1 seemed to be fairly universal, as obviously we're getting in season 2.
The Last of Us 2 game in general is also very divisive.
The game, incredibly,
but
yeah.
I think also some of the decisions they're making, so...
As a side note, I loved the remark one of the creators of Last of Us, when, spoiler, Pedro Pascal dies very early in season 2. One of the creators just said, you can see him in literally any movie you watch this year if you want to see him. It's so insane. Like, every time I think surely there's going to be a gap, he's just in, like, every time I go to the movie theater, there's a trailer with him in a movie. It's insane that this guy, the number of movies this man is in, and shows. It's crazy.
Because he's in the new Fantastic Four. I saw an article. Fantastic Four kind of intrigues me. I haven't decided yet.
I think it could be good.
I am excited for the new Superman movie. I might be becoming a Superman person. I do love Batman a little bit more.
That's fair. But you know what? It'll be another 12 years before we get Batman Part 2.
They're working on it. I promise. I keep seeing it. I say as they yank me away in a padded straitjacket. But apparently Pedro Pascal wanted to do the 50s, 60s transatlantic accent when he was for the Fantastic Four movie, and they're like, no, don't do that. Just be you.
Interesting.
And I thought, and someone made a comment that said, you have one of the most golden Hollywood-looking era actors.
Yeah.
You didn't let him do the voice.
Yeah, I know, right? I would have loved that. That would have been really fascinating.
Put a mustache on that man, shave his beard.
I was originally incredibly skeptical as him as Mr. Fantastic, just because he's so oversaturated. But at least visually, when I've seen with the trailers, he looks like he's doing a great job.
Yeah, it feels more like, Mr. Fantastic, and not so much it's Pedro Pascal in another outfit.
Like, I guess my default image of Pedro is not literally, but like the performance he's giving as the fox in Wild Robot. That personality, like a DreamWorks character.
I forgot he was in it. See,
that's my image of him. That would not have worked for Mr. Fantastic.
My first impression is Game of Thrones.
Sure, of course. I get that. I've just never seen that. So,
if I had a nickel for each time a Pedro Pascal character got his head bashed in on screen, I have 2 nickels, maybe more. We'll see how Fantastic Four ends up.
So I am struggling to find a legitimate source to say this, but I have seen it multiple places.
Trust me, bro.
That supposedly Josh Cooley, who directed Transformers 1, is maybe doing a live-action Transformers movie.
I have heard that as well. But you know what I've also heard? That Michael Bay is coming back to do another live-action Transformers movie.
Yeah. I'm also seeing that here. So who knows if that's true? Maybe it's
Twitter
getting kicked around.
I don't know.
So that would not be the first time Transformers series has taken a animation director into live action because of the man who directed Bumblebee. Came exclusively from stop motion before that. He had never made a live action film before. So it can work. A similar parallel would be, absolute best case scenarios, Brad Bird, who did Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Iron Giant, did one of my favorite films, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. So you absolutely can go from animated to live action franchise movie.
At what cost?
No cost if it goes well.
No cost, yeah.
If it goes well, it's no cost. Especially for a series like Transformers, where the most important thing is already CGI anyways.
See it.
I think I'm totally blanking. Do you remember who did Rise of the Beasts? Was it anyone? Have no memory. Oh, see, they brought a guy, Stephen Cable Jr. He had no experience with animation. The biggest movie he had directed was Creed 2, which is a good movie.
Stephen Cable Jr.
But he had never done anything that big before. And I'm sure they brought him in for more of the human stuff, which is good theoretically, but the human stuff in Transformers Rise of the Beast sucks. So that didn't work. So I think Cooley, he also directed Toy Story 4, which I personally love. A lot of people hate on it. I think those are people who probably have not actually seen it or never gave it a fair shake. The guy does know characters. He does know stories. He knows how to, with Transformers 1, really showed how to like actually go for it narratively and actually explore the darker side of these stories.
What's that image of the guy shooting the man in the chair? And he's like, how could this happen?
It's from the Eric Andre show.
Paramount Marketing. Transformers 1. No one wanted an animated Transformers movie. I do have a little bitty bit of news.
Sure.
So I guess...
First off, okay, what was the first thing we were talking about? Oh,
Chernobyl.
I mean, woo for Chernobyl.
Yeah, woo!
Being so involved. And possible woo, I would say, for Josh Cooley maybe making a live-action Transformers movie. Anyways, what were you saying?
Fun fact, he's like, here's my plot, and then they let him in charge. It's just another animated Transformers film.
You just, have the live-action characters walk on and off screen at the beginning, and then the rest of it is just CGI.
Exactly. Apparently, Jon Favreau is directing an Oswald the Lucky Rabbit series.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, Oswald is Walt Disney's first animated character. This thing
the proto Mickey Mouse
that he lost to the copyright and someone else snatched it up, which is kind of funny. But Jon Favreau has cast Ravi Cabot-Conyers, who is Wim from Skeleton Crew, in that. So good to see some of these kids get some.
Wim was the main kid, right? Okay, I have totally put I have a positive memory of Skeleton Crew, but a majority of the show itself is kind of lost out of my brain. I'd have to really loop back around it to remember things. Yeah, cool, sounds good. And that would be a voice acting. That's kind of funny because you do have a really strong child voice performance in Skeleton Crew, but it's not that character. It's the other main male character. Cool. Okay, so my other note I have here is not a news, but so as I was thinking a little bit about Jurassic Park 2 and having just watched Jurassic World, and also Jurassic Park 3, just looking at, the weird thing about sequels to movies, they always try to duplicate elements of the first film in convoluted ways. The thing that they have to Jurassic Park movies have to bend over backwards to do is manage to get kids around the dinosaurs. And 2 and 3 really had to find, they had to, wrap the whole plot of Jurassic Park 3 around why would a kid be on this island.
He went parasailing.
They had to get a kid to sneak onto the airplane and the bus in Jurassic Park 2.
I do that in the book too.
Yeah, and I don't think they would have survived that. I feel like
the oxygen,
just not you being able to use the bathroom, not eating, not drinking. I don't know what that would kill. I think that might severely harm a child. And
8
I don't know,
hours?
I thought it was 12 hours or 11 hours in the book
sleep
at least.
For 12 hours.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just
just knock them out with some NyQuil. They're fine.
I have a hard time believing they would stay in place that long too. But anyways, and then in the Jurassic World sequels, it's the clone girl. It's just it's such a convoluted reason to even have a kid around to begin with. That's the whole note. It's just I had never thought that hard about it. I was like, oh yeah, just because there's a good reason to have. It's an interesting reason to have kids around in the original Jurassic Park, but because there was kids in the original Jurassic Park, they're trying to cater to kids in this series. They just keep trying to find new ways to force a kid in. And obviously, Jurassic World ends up fine, but even then, very convoluted reason to have them in danger by leaving a gate open. We'll talk about it. Any other news?
No.
All right, Jurassic World. We're back to our typical movie review format of dubs, L's, and hms. Yeah, I mean, in one sentence, they opened the park. They did it. It's so many years later.
This is the spared no expense that John Hammond always wanted.
And it is still in-gen, correct? Like,
yes, it's still in-gen. There is no mention of Biosyn in this film at all, I don't
so
think.
Maserati, the new owner, did he buy it from Hammond?
I think that's probably the implication because Hammond is obviously dead at this point.
Okay, is he? Because the only line about him that I could remember was someone saying,
Hammond.
he's not here to protect you anymore. Now, the actor, I think, was dead or very old and sick by this point.
Maybe, well, Maserati said Hammond trusted me with this. So maybe he could have been like a stakeholder.
Yeah.
Because obviously his nephew screwed things up with the San Diego. So at some point, maybe Hammond passed down the reins. But I always took the Hammond won't be here to save you this time after the first park incident with Wu.
Sure. And that's a good point. I mean, it barely matters. But my point was, I was just curious what the lore was of if he was actually dead at this point or not. I don't know.
What if we Google it?
I am just curious.
Let's see what the Jurassic Wiki says.
Because I do think that it is really interesting that the creator of Jurassic Park stops being a significant role in this series. But they keep having to try to replace him. I think terribly done in Jurassic World 2. They really try really hard to find a new Hammond character. It doesn't work. Jurassic World 3, they bring back Dobson in a kind of Hammond-esque role. Also terrible. They just never managed to recapture the character.
Do you think John Hammond should have his own villains wiki page?
That's a good question. I think yes.
But yeah, obviously Peter Ludlow got by the T-Rex. It looks like he's only mentioned by Dr. Grant in the third movie at the beginning. John Hammond died shortly before midnight on the 31st December 1997, according to the Jurassic Park Wiki.
I knew there would be some sort of official...
7 minutes later at 05 a.m. on the 1st of January, he was briefly revived by his medical staff before passing away again.
Bizarre.
I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Is that not during the events of... Because isn't the second movie take place in 97?
Probably.
What month did it say?
It's December, the last day of December 1997.
Okay, so it was after the events of the movie.
Simon Maserani, CEO of the Maserani Global Corporation and son of Hammond's personal friend Sanjay Maserani, bought InGen in 1998. And he opened Jurassic World in 2005.
Whoa. So it's been open for 10 years. They say that in the movie?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Apparently he's got a statue in the Innovation Center, kind of remembrance.
Nice. Wait, the Innovation Center, is that in Jurassic World or is that in one of the sequels?
It's in Jurassic World.
I see.
Maserani tells his employee Claire Deering that Hammond entrusted him with his dying wish.
I see.
Yeah.
That is one of the what you read about Hammond's death is one of the crazier bits of deep lore. No, it's hilarious.
Just so funny.
I had a feeling there was an interesting answer to my question.
It's down to the minutes is what gets me. Who wrote that?
That is one of the crazier bits of deep lore we have found on this podcast.
What's the source for that TF Wiki? What is number? Jurassicpedia timeline. Thanks.
So Jurassic World, aka Jurassic Park 4, took a long time to get made. There was like a Jurassic Park 4 announced for a long time, and it took them. I remember thinking it was never going to get made. Eventually, they hired Colin Trevorrow, who has an interesting relationship to Star Wars because he was, if you don't know, hired to make Episode 9, and then his own personal weird side project failed, and also Lucasfilm was really worried after the very diverse reaction to Last Jedi, and so the original script for 9 was supposed to be a much more faithful sequel to Last Jedi, and they entirely scrapped. It's not even like, from everything I can tell, there is not a lot of the original, which was originally going to be called the famous song
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates. There's not a lot left of Duel of the Fates in Rise of Skywalker. Like, they really totally restarted and kicked Colin Trevorrow off. J.J. Abrams definitely a better director than Colin Trevorrow, but given the time, I think Trevorrow may. But you know, on the other hand, though, I was going to say Trevorrow may have made a better Star Wars movie given just having another year of production than J.J. did. He also made Jurassic World Dominion, which is god awful. So who knows? Anyways, Trevorrow never made a good movie in my opinion. Though, so his 3 films are Safety Not Guaranteed, which is a very strange small indie film. Jurassic World, Book of Henry, which I've never seen but I've heard is bad.
Book of what?
Book of Henry is about a kid genius.
You said Jurassic World, Book of Henry, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, everyone knows the Jurassic World movie, Jurassic World, the Book of Henry.
What are you talking about?
So the guy has had, a bad... He does still have a story credit, though, on Rise of Skywalker early enough, but I don't think much of his screenplay, if at all, made it in. So that's an interesting, just kind of... But Colin Trevorrow personally chosen by Spielberg, supposedly, to make this. They're also, I think, very clearly going with sort of a, just like with Dr. Grant, kind of an Indiana Jonesy thing with Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt coming hot off 2014 is an incredible year for Chris Pratt, both Lego Movie and Guardians. I was originally, he was kind of the only thing that made me excited for this film originally. We'll talk about it. Rachel, what's your first, do you want to start with, do you feel like you have more L's or more dubs? Like which direction do you want to go with this movie? L's or dubs?
The longer we talk about it, the more I'll think of, but I'll start with dubs.
Okay, go for it.
I really like the new theme.
What about it?
The music theme. I just really like that it's still faithful to the old theme, but I like the musical notes that they've added.
See, I didn't even really register it as a new theme. I mean, it's probably different, but like, is what I would have said. Though I will say it is honestly probably the most talented person working on this movie, Michael Giacchino.
Rogue One.
He did Rogue One. He did one of the Mission Impossible movies. He did The Incredibles. He's done a lot of Pixar. Mm-hmm. He did the new Star Trek movies, or at least the sequels. He's great. He's great within franchise filmmaking.
I'm trying to find it.
Trying to avoid copyright strike. He did the Batman as well. So this is the original one or the Jurassic World one?
Oh, no, I'm trying to think about it.
Other Giacchino highlights. Let's see. Oh, I accidentally clicked on Jurassic World Dominion. Get that out of here. I don't want that.
Cameron in my ears.
I'm filling the space until you find it. He did the new Spider-Man. He did Jojo Rabbit. Coco. Like I said, done a lot of Pixar.
Man, see, now I can't find it, but there is a very clear difference.
I see. And I believe you. I did not personally catch it. Ratatouille. Wait, did he do Ratatouille? I may be looking at this incorrectly. No, he did not do. Oh, he did. He did do Ratatouille, another beautifully composed film. So the guy's just really good at job, Michael Giacchino. So
also, Michael Giacchino has a lot of fun names for his songs, for his tracks.
Yeah. I did not realize he did Sky High.
Oh,
that's hilarious. It's funny that you brought up the theme because I noted that I was shocked how early they brought the theme in, because the classic thing now for these sort of like reboots, Lego sequels is that you wait until the last second to do the iconic theme because it's the Jaws effect. I was shocked that
it's right at the beginning.
Yeah, and it makes sense theoretically because it's a big wide shot of the park operating.
The original gates.
But then as far as I could tell, they don't really do it again until the end.
Nope, that is correct.
So that's what's bizarre to me is that they both do it super early and then they just kind of hold off on it. As far as the rest of the film, no music really stood out to me much. Which is not necessarily reflective of a bad score.
I'm so annoyed. It's different.
Dubs for me, as much, I guess most of my dubs on this are reflective of having a complicated emotion or reaction to this film. First time I saw it in theaters, I was resistant to it. I thought, this is going to bomb. No one's going to like this. This doesn't need to exist. It was making a ton of money. People were saying they liked it, so I decided to go see it, and I was pleasantly surprised the first time I saw it. And then a few months later, I tried to rewatch it. Didn't even get into it. Kind of bored, cast it away, and then didn't rewatch it for many years. And I was like, it's probably fine, but I don't really care that much about it. It's probably worth one viewing. That's it. Rewatched it with Allison a few years ago, and hated it. I actually had it rated on IMDb as a 3 out of 10.
Interesting.
So my perspective going into this was I really did not like it. And then upon rewatching it a few days ago, I ticked it up slightly to 4 out of 10. I think it was not as bad as I had remembered it, but I still don't think it's a good movie. But there are parts that I liked more than I remembered.
When I first saw it, I really, really enjoyed it. It didn't enjoy it as much this time, but like it was still fun. Fun. It was an easy watch. I wasn't as enamored with it versus the first time I saw it. Oh, I found it. Sorry, I promise.
Go for it. No, please.
It's this melody.
Riveting stuff. You know, the classic.
You missed it.
Wait, that was it?
This part. I like this addition into the theme.
So this you're talking about this section
This is
as
new,
an
yeah.
addition.
And then it builds into like the eventual theme. So I like it.
See that? I don't think it's bad. That just doesn't really strike me as
Megan,
anything.
you'll know what I'm talking about. You understand music.
So what I was talking about was having a mixed reaction to this. The first thing that I was surprised, actually this is pretty effective, even though I don't think it's amazing, is the first. So Owen Grady is the character played by classic actor Jurassic Pratt.
Yeah, Jurassic
Pratt. Chris Pratt plays a raptor trainer, and a guy accidentally falls into the raptor pen, and Owen has to. He's the constant struggle of this film is really they don't want to kill the dinosaurs, which if they were willing to just do it, the park would not have gotten destroyed. But that's
sometimes you got to waste a couple $100 million to make money.
And so this first major scene with the raptors is they're not going to kill them, they're going to shock them. But he says that if they shock them, he will never have their trust ever again as the trainer. And so he has to go out there and stop them himself. And he puts himself between the raptors and the kid who fell in the cage.
It's the infamous handout.
Yes, which he does in every movie.
I know.
And I did find this effective. Like, I think there is an argument for sure that this whole thing kind of softens the raptors, who were just these cold-blooded killers in the original movie. Like, they're truly, like, the dinosaur is a battering ram, but the raptors are smart and scary.
Yeah, they were, of all the threats in the first park, it was them by the end of it. They were the threats.
But, I can believe that you could train these ants. Like, it's a movie. You need something different. I don't think it ultimately pays off in an interesting way in this movie, really. It kind of does, but I do, regardless, as the first major dinosaur scene in this movie, I do find it interesting they're not going to kill him, but it's still interesting to watch this guy navigate these raptors, and that they're not perfectly under control either.
Exactly.
When he has to roll, how it ends with him turning and rolling and them still going after him, I found that really cool.
Or when he's like, I can't remember, he makes a comment to the kid who's like on the ground just inside the cage, and he makes a comment about them, and the camera pans out, and one of the raptors is like,
he specifically says, "Never turn your back to the cage." Yeah.
Have you ever taken your cat to the vet and you put them in a carrier and they're pressed up against the iron bars? It was a very similar scene. It was very funny.
And we're going to talk about mixed reactions to this movie. I meant to look this up earlier. I'm finally getting around to it. I wanted to find a effects reel to figure out what is at all practical in this film and what is at all CGI. Obviously, the CGI looks quite good in this film, but it does give it this lacking of life. I think that's what's so good about the original film is that the dinosaurs constantly have so much life because almost all the dinosaurs at some point have a practical version of them. So you always have that practical version to go back to. I did think this was practical, and this does confirm it that the I don't know what kind of dinosaur this is. Long-necked.
The dead.
The one that at some point after the
Indominus Rex.
Thank you. Indominus Rex escapes. He goes and kills a bunch of these long-necked dinosaurs, and the first one that Owen finds, he bends over and comforts it. That is a fully practical because here they're showing that the body is CGI, but as he approaches the neck, it becomes a fully practical thing that he touches. And this is the closest the movie comes to having an emotional element.
They're apatosaurs.
And so when Claire looks at it, and I really thought the movie was going to have at some point have Owen or Claire say, "This is the first time I've ever touched one." They don't say it. You get the sense
you get the vibe that she has never. There are assets to her before this moment,
but they do not say it. And I really give the movie a lot of credit for that scene. Practical dinosaur head. She doesn't explain her emotions. You get a start. Allison got it. I got it. So I really respect that scene. I think that can go in the dub as well. You have these two opposites of this movie does well at some point is making the dinosaurs feel like real creatures when it's not a big action scene, and also the raptors having this tentative relationship with Owen. But as far as L's go, there's a lot as well.
Were those your only dubs?
No, I've got other dubs. I wanted to go to L's and then come back to dubs. I think my biggest, I think we'll close with biggest L's maybe. Small L that I have is that the behavior of the
Indominus Rex?
So I cannot keep that. Indominus Rex, the I-Rex, his behavior is so bizarre to me. He behaves like a movie villain, not like everything the T-Rex does in the original film feels like something an animal would do. The Indominus Rex, the main thing that pisses me off is when he slowly pushes his head inside the garage with Owen and Claire and then pulls out and then blasts through the wall. There's a fake out. It's a fake out him leaving when just the earlier scene, this thing is killing. And it's being reckless and it's flipping cars. And the only reason Owen survived was because he doused himself in fuel. And also, it's almost the exact same scene of Owen underneath the car. And now Owen is beside a car. And why... It's only this character, the monster, is only behaving this way for the sake of the camera. Is what I'm getting at. Is there's no reason for a monster to slowly creep by something and then not investigate more. I guess like it doesn't. It's just movie behavior. It never feels. And I know like kind of the point of the I-Rex is that it was made in a lab and never had any socialization, so it acts strangely. But I think that could have been conveyed in a different way that's more interesting. Like. This doesn't seem like strange behavior. It just feels like fake behavior. Also, it comes up with a plan to get out. That to me does not make any sense because I don't imagine a T-Rex having the concept of, or Indominus Rex having a concept of, if I claw these walls, humans will think that I got out and then they will open the doors.
Well, it wasn't just a T-Rex.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's why I said I corrected myself. But the raptors don't ever do that either. Like, we see the raptors, their form of deception in Jurassic Park 3 is to injure one of the people to draw in the more humans. That makes sense because that's how animals think. Animals will come to the aid of their people, but animals don't really understand deception. The idea that the Indominus Rex would understand that it can fake escaping, that to me doesn't track for anything an animal could. And I know again it's a movie, but I'm comparing back to Jurassic Park. I guess I just don't really like the I-Rex that much. I just don't think it. I think they are trying way too hard to make this thing feel like a supervillain rather than that's why something that works really well in the original movie is that the kids are still able to outsmart the raptors. The raptors are not so smart that they can't be outsmarted. Do you have any thoughts on how the Indominus Rex escapes its enclosure?
So some of the known species that were included are, well, obviously Tyrannosaurus Rex, Velociraptor, Carnotaurus, Giganotosaurus, Majungasaurus, Rugops.
Majungasaurus?
Yes. No, that's
I gotta see this bad boy.
Picnonomosaurus, Quilmosaurus, Viavenator, Deinosuchus, and Theranosaurus. Therizinosaurus, my bad, sorry. But some of the modern animals were cuttlefish, tree frog, and pit viper snake. Cuttlefish.
I like this. This is the Majungasaurus.
Yeah,
with his arms going backwards.
Yeah, his little arms. You can see it in the face, though.
Yeah.
There's also rumored, I remember seeing this all over the time, that the theory, because they're so secretive, was that they used human DNA.
Yeah, and that was, we do know that they did strongly consider that for Jurassic Park 4 was human dinosaur hybrids.
It looks like the T-Rex was for the base genome, with the strong, which also gave it strong bite. The Velociraptor was for high level of intelligence, the ability to make plans and decisions. Giganotosaurus was for the size. The other things were added for a biological form of armor. Deinosuchus, crocodilian teeth. Therizinosaurus, long forelimbs. Cuttlefish obviously was for accelerated growth, but then that is what led to it being able to change in chameleon. I feel like, though, with us seeing the intelligence of the raptors in Jurassic Park 3, is it that much of a stretch that she was able to come up with a plan to trick them into opening the door, thinking she was gone?
That's the part that I don't think feels realistic, is the deception element of the claws up the wall. I just don't think that the animal would understand that a human would. It's thinking that the dinosaur understands how humans think. And also,
but would we not have seen that in Jurassic Park, the book, when all the velociraptors were escaping, but the velociraptors stayed in a pack of 6 in the cage? So they didn't know they were escaping?
I don't think that was their plan. I think that was an error on the humans' part, was that they were only looking for 6, and they gathered 6 and put them in the cage, and the rest were just hiding. Like that, I think because we figured out that their nest was underground. I think it's open for debate. I don't think you're totally wrong, but I think there's a huge difference between the deception levels that we see in the former ones and this level of deception. I also think the movie doesn't explicitly state it. It could be a coincidence. I think the movie's implying that the Indominus Rex somehow knew that it was invisible to the cameras, because the only reason that its plan works is because it can mask its signature. And there's no way the Indominus Rex would understand the concept of heat signature cameras, but yet that's the only reason it works. So like, there's so many layers of either it's lucky or it's incredibly intelligent, and that I think it's that, you know, there is an element of Jurassic Park of like, these dinosaurs just do what they're gonna do, and eventually the odds are things fail. And that is, you know what, I think I will make the argument in favor of Jurassic World is, even when everything goes right for 10 years, eventually the humans are going to make a mistake then just one mistake explodes out into the entire park collapsing. It's Ian Malcolm's whole thing of the complex system of, even when you get a level control for a while.
Speaking of Ian Malcolm, can I hop up to a really small dub?
Sure.
Did you see his book in the movie?
No, I did not catch that.
I saw it twice.
Oh, interesting.
So when the boys, Claire's nephews, are on the monorail into the park right before, right before it switches views to the intro gate, Zara, her assistant, is reading Ian Malcolm's book in the seats behind them. you can see
That's
his
interesting.
head right in the gap of the chairs.
That's fun.
And I'm like, that's Ian Malcolm. You see it again in the control room about 30 minutes in. I actually wrote down the time code. It's 3530. So I only saw it twice before I kind of just started listening and not really watching. Excuse me. So I don't know if it's there too, but I thought that was interesting. The fact that there are people who are working for this corporation reading his book.
That is a fun detail for sure. If we're going to move over to dubs.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that. No,
that's good. No, I think that's fun. I did not know that. That's a fun.
I saw it and I was like, the Wojak pointing. I was like, that's Ian Malcolm.
I kind of gave my probably major one. I guess I'll go ahead and contradict myself in that even though I think the logic behind it is flawed, I do think that first I-Rex attack is compelling. Because
so bad for that
because they're
random
not
maintenance
showing
guy.
him full on. I think that's a good choice, is that you're never seeing the Indominus Rex full on.
Her.
Sure.
She's a lady.
And the way it's stalking and hunting the humans, but it's big, and it's flipping cars, and it, you think the door's going to close, and it manages to get in the door before it closes and tear it. I do think it's a compelling scene. It is legitimately scary. Unfortunately, the two scenes I've listed are the best scenes in the movie, and they're very early on, and the movie really runs out of steam after that.
I think one thing that's interesting after that first initial Indominus Rex attack, because it gets two guys. It gets the big guy who's sitting in front of the vehicle because he couldn't go underneath the truck.
Yep.
And another worker that she gets inside the pen before she comes out. When Claire comes back to the control room, I don't know. It's real quick. The security guard moves to the side, and you see the family of one of the workers there.
Oh,
in the control room.
interesting.
I don't know if because there's like two people who are hugging each other. I don't know if it's like two wives of the two men, but there's a woman and maybe a son. Like it's actually kind of like, oh crap!
Interesting.
It is a very small detail.
Sure.
But it kind of hits you with the, oh yeah, this isn't just these men had families. And they died at their occupation. So I feel like the scene of Claire coming back with the Indominus Rex being out, the entire control room kind of in this state of, oh my gosh, what do we do, was kind of done well. Because there's so many references to the original park.
Sure.
The main computer nerd is wearing an original vintage shirt, and Claire goes, don't you think that's in poor taste? People died. He goes, oh, I did think that. I didn't think that. But
yeah, I think that's another, honestly, for me, that character just really shows how much of a cheap knockoff this is of the first one, because he's very close. His name is Lowry. Yeah. Very clearly a Nedry. He's got the messy desk. He's not a straight up ripoff of Nedry, but he's clearly supposed to be a parallel to Nedry.
Someone has to stay behind.
Yeah, that's a moment for sure. And he kisses the girl, or tries to kiss the girl.
I have a boyfriend. I didn't know you were together. Ugh,
and
harassment.
I just, Nedry is so integral to that first Jurassic Park movie in so many ways. And Lowry, you cut him out and the movie is no different without him.
Yeah. He kind of does a little bit of something.
But anyone could have done that. It doesn't matter. It takes... he had some personality. Jake Johnson, hilarious guy. He had some personality to the cast, but as far as a character, the only thing he does is Claire yells at him and he pushes the button. It does not... It could have been anyone. Claire could have done it herself if they had wanted to. I think I would like to finish up dubs and finish with one major L.
Okay.
I just have some other small. I do think there are some. I think Trevorrow does have some small touches he adds. I do think there are some good decisions here and there. There is everything I like is almost always ruined by another thing. There's a really good. So Maserati, the new owner, he's piloting a helicopter.
I love my boss. I would not be in a helicopter with my boss.
I don't recall what causes the helicopter to crash. I cannot remember.
That's a good question. I had looked away at that moment and I was like,
Is it that the Indominus Rex has gone into the
yeah, it's gone
the aviary and released a few of the flying dinosaurs and they attacked the helicopter?
That might be right. I'm trying to remember.
See, this is the problem with this movie is I don't like everything about it just escapes my brain.
Jurassic World incident.
Here, I got the movie up. I could find it.
I just pulled up the wiki. Finally deciding the Indominus Rex was too dangerous to be kept alive, Maserati boarded JW001, which is the name of the helicopter, if anyone needed to know that, with an ACU trooper and a gunner and pursued her through the park. It escaped into the aviary and caused the pterodons to leave, and then they attacked the helicopter.
Yeah, and then the helicopter crashes in the aviary, making a bigger hole.
Yeah.
But as the helicopter is crashing into the aviary, you have this really good POV shot from within the helicopter, and it makes it really feel real. Like, it makes it feel like... Oh, no, so, okay, I'm misremembering. I now remember what I meant by POV shot. It's a POV shot from Claire's perspective.
Yeah.
Because I do find that compelling if you see Claire's reaction, because she knows who's piloting it, and it kind of does a nice small moment of this helplessness of, wow, this is the moment things have truly gone out of control. And you see a POV shot of her from far away of the helicopter crashing into the aviary, and I think it's a really great shot. And then it immediately cuts to an impossible shot. By meaning impossible if you could not have a camera there following the helicopter as it crashes. And I was like, man, you just went from a very good, very real shot to an impossible CGI shot that ruins the moment you had just created. And I do think that's a great moment that draws a strong contrast to what Spielberg and also Joe Johnston, who did 3, what they provide is this grounding in filmmaking realism of that anything you see at any time could have been captured in reality.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it...
Is that a plane? Oh, no, it's a helicopter. It's got to crash into us.
I think it's a lawnmower. I had a nickel for every time someone is out here mowing. It happens at least once a week. So it's... One of the greatest things about Jurassic Park is the scale. Like, the first T-Rex scene, you feel the size of that T-Rex. When you see the first brachiosaur for the first time, the first dinosaur on screen, really, in the first movie, the scale is important. The pterodons going after everyone in Jurassic Park 3. The scale is important. Once you start flying your camera around, it loses that scale.
Absolutely.
It is like... Now, I'm not trying to slander the recent Godzilla movies, but like...
Movies you like. I think it's fair. I mean,
Godzilla X Kong. The second you start doing these wide, huge, very curated skyscraper shots, the scale is gone. One of the most impressive things about 2014 is all of the...
Godzilla 2014, to specify.
Yes, Godzilla 2014. Wow, what a year for 2014. That's one of the things that makes Godzilla so imposing. That shot at the airport where it's in the airport, it's, high up, but you see the size of Godzilla compared to the humans. It's just, once you kind of start getting into that territory, the scale is gone. You're no longer like, I'm in this movie and I'm scared.
And that comes right around to why they hired the man who directed Godzilla 2014, he directed Rogue One. He's doing the new Jurassic World. So hopefully what you're talking about is coming back. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. So we were supposed to be in dubs, though. I like that shot, at least for a moment. Another cut that I liked a lot is there's a scene. It's an edit that I like a lot in the scene where Claire releases the original T-Rex, named Rexy by the fans.
Her heels were not that tall, FYI.
People really flipped out about that.
For some, if she's wearing heels every single day for 12 hours a day, she can run those things. It's fine.
The T-Rex is running at the screen, and it cuts to the I-Rex's hand reaching for the other human characters. That was it really made that hand reaching towards the camera. It took the two things and it matched them. It's called match edit. It's a really clever edit. I thought it was really fun. It's kind of sad that the best things I have to say about this movie are small details like that. But do you have any other dubs you want to talk about before we get to the end of L's?
Yeah. Big fan of the old ruined park.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said that last week.
Decrepit architecture.
That is the fun thing about the Jurassic Park sequels is the rundown old stuff. And it is good.
It's actually kind of interesting because, it's like, oh, well, they didn't build on top of the old park, probably because people died there, It was probably a burial ground, technically speaking. But putting it on the coast, so much easier. Boats, because the only way to Jurassic Park, you could get cargo boats, but there was not an actual tourist landing dock. It was only supplies. You could only get there by helicopter, which is also why, John Hammond was like, we're going to make so much money. But it's, it makes sense why it was on the coast. Also, and this will kind of go to my next dub. But yeah, seeing the old abandoned, the old banner and stuff, some of the old artwork, the original building was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think on the same note, I do agree that those sections are really interesting and have good atmosphere. The movie also tries to act like some elements are way more iconic than they actually are. Like, I think the one that really stuck out to me is one of the kids picks up the night vision goggles. And I
think those are in the gift shop too.
And it feels very similar to this element, same year, 2015, Star Wars Force Awakens, when Finn picks up the training, blaster droid that Luke used in episode 4 and tosses it to the side. It feels like that of oh, you remember this thing from the original movie, but except for Star Wars, the physical objects of Star Wars are so iconic. I do think that moment from Force Awakens is unnecessary, but I can understand why they would do something like that. Whereas the goggles, having a character, it's not. It really is clearly, obviously, just this weird fan servicey moment. Except for what fan is going to get excited? Oh, there's the goggles! We already have the park itself. The park itself is what is iconic. The Jeeps are iconic.
I would own one of those. I'm going to be dead honest. I would own one of those Jeeps.
They are. Jeep is currently doing Jurassic World ads, which is one of the most brilliant. I don't remember seeing Jeep ads when the other Jurassic Park, I could be totally wrong, but I don't remember seeing Jurassic Park ads when all the other Jurassic World movies came out. So this is.
They're maybe we'll make money.
Yeah. The ad, I don't know if the actual Jeeps themselves do this, but the ad said that the Jeeps are Jurassic rated and it had a Jurassic Park emblem
that's funny.
I'm going to see if this is real. Jurassic.
I don't need a new vehicle. My vehicle is.
Let me see if I can find this.
I've seen images of people who custom their 90s Jeep to be just like the Jurassic Park Jeeps.
Oh yeah, all the time. It's great. Let's see if I can find
1992 Jeep Wrangler YJ Sahara models. Originally sand beige.
Jeep did do, it says here, a 2018 Super Bowl commercial for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So they have done promotion before, but I'm trying to find the exact phrasing on this. This says Jeep goes full dyno mode, but I don't know if that's exactly. I'll find it. Do you have any other dubs you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, it was really cool kind of seeing some of the new dinosaurs that you didn't get to see in the original park. I think Ankylosaurus are technically new. I'm not the Dimorphodons, which look like mutations but are not, are in there, which are kind of cool. They're the little guys in the aviary. Also, whoever's weed eating needs to stop. They're getting closer. Can you hear it? Slowly getting closer. And I'm not gonna lie, that Mosasaurus is pretty cool.
And which one is that?
The water one.
Oh, we can talk about that. I think we'll talk about the climax here in a moment. Because I do think the climax is probably the culmination of everything that works and doesn't work about this movie.
But the Mosasaurus is cool.
Jeep's trail rated badge. While the term Jurassic rated is a playful extension, so Jurassic rated, that's what it was. Yeah.
The Mosasaurus is cool.
Which one is that?
The water one.
Oh, that's okay. I forgot. I'm sorry. I don't have dino autism. I'm sorry.
I can't really watch this movie.
Okay. So, transition to L's.
No, I'm not done. I have one more.
You have more? Okay, please.
This one's just for funsies. Margaritaville. But it's spelled wrong, so it's like I was at Margaritaville.
Are you serious?
Do you not know this?
I know. I have no idea what you're talking
I'm about to drop some insane lore on you. Let me talk. No, sorry.
I know who is in this movie.
Yes.
But the misspelling, Margarita misspelling, that's what I don't know about.
Margaritaville.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett is in this film.
But it's spelled differently on Jurassic World for like copyright reasons? Or like what is
No, I just think it's so funny that
what is misspelled exactly?
I didn't say anything was misspelled. Oh! It's misspelled in my notes.
Oh, in your notes.
Which makes it sound like I was at Margaritaville. It's
I see. I thought you meant it was misspelled in the movie. No, okay. I do know about everything else.
No.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But explain for our listeners who don't know.
Jimmy Buffett, may he rest in peace.
Okay, I didn't know he was dead.
Is he dead?
Well, the character within the movie, you're presuming he died.
I'm pretty sure Jimmy Buffett's dead.
Yeah, he died in 2023.
Okay, I was like, no, he's dead.
Singer-songwriter, author, businessman, environmentalist.
Anyways, Jimmy Buffett is in Jurassic World, and it's during the scene where all the pterodons are flying into the park.
Keep going.
It's a very clear shot as everyone is running inside away from the pterodons. This man grabs 2 margaritas before he runs inside and cares. It's just a little funny.
It is an iconic shot.
And you know what? If you had to cameo in a Jurassic Park movie, why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
My other thought is, I don't know where you have this on the list, but I think it's worth discussing Zara's death.
That's the assistant. I feel like we've talked about this in a previous episode, but go ahead and talk about it now.
Brutal. She told Colin.
Yeah, she wanted to. Supposedly, I've heard that. Yeah,
that's what she wanted to. So Zara we talked about this with Eddie Carr, a pretty innocent character having a pretty brutal death type. And, continually going into the theme that Jurassic Park dinosaurs don't really discriminate when it comes to dying. But Zara, Claire's assistant who was watching her nephews, gets picked up by the pterodon, tossed through the air between pterodons, dunked into the water to drown her, picked back up, and the Mosasaurus comes out, grabs the pterodon and her. Mm-hmm. It's brutal.
What I'd forgotten is all of the pterodons diving in after her. I had forgotten about that part because obviously people remember her getting picked up, dropped in the water, and then eaten. You forget all the stuff in the middle, her getting dropped and then caught again, dropped, brutally attacked, and then eaten.
I feel like the question is, so the actual teeth closed around the pterodon. She was in its throat.
Sure.
Do you think she would have died immediately from force pressure, or she would have been eaten alive?
Good question. I don't know.
Well, let's go find out.
How are we going to do that?
We're going to go find the Mosasaur and ask.
I see.
Anyways, when that came out, people were like, Colin Trevorrow hates women. It's like, no.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to confirm that she said that.
But would she have been like the first human woman to die to a dinosaur in the franchise?
That's a good question.
She might have been.
Man. There's only normally one woman per movie.
Yeah, ratio.
So,
she might have been the first. I think she was.
Okay. On screen, yes. You do have the death of all the people on the boat at the beginning of 3.
Was there a woman on that boat?
I thought there was, but that's kind of a weak argument because you don't see them die; they're just there and then they're gone.
And there's blood. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, so not technically, but pretty much
for an on-screen death of a known character.
is there? You'd have to go back to Jurassic Park 2 and look at the San Francisco scene. There's a lot of death in San Diego.
I think the closest is the lady in the convertible who screams and guns it in reverse.
Yeah,
and drives away, but I don't think she dies.
Okay, here's Katie McGrath in the behind the scenes of Jurassic World talking about her scene.
Yelling.
It's going to get really crazy.
I'm with the other tourists, and we had them do some pretty specific actions for things on set.
So I thought it would be faster.
With the visual. A lot of very complicated beats and a lot of complicated visual
Okay,
effects.
this seems like it's getting closer here.
Complicated.
Die in like a very cool way. So I'm going to pull me up on that crane straight up in the air. There's like 8 people around me. It's so that I don't really die. Because that's a possibility. My mom would be upset.
Well, she's not saying here that she asked for it, but she's cool with it.
Wires on her. The camera moves around the boys and sees their reactions to what's going on. And by the time we circle back around the boys,
It is cool to see this behind the scenes of how they rigged her up to get. She's not. It's not CGI herself when she gets pulled up.
Yeah.
The stunts, and we're adding the dinosaurs around her who has aggressive stunt.
all her.
Then we got her into a
And then they
tank
did
actually
actually drop
tied
her
up, and they
in the
were
water
moving her
too.
up and down.
That is a good shot of when she drops in the water.
I've been held underwater by a giant.
Simply imagine.
So this does not, from what I can tell, confirm that she said that she asked for it, but that is widely reported, regardless of
Yeah.
it being true. Who knows?
Do I think Colin Trevorrow hates women? Because he killed off a woman in one of his movies? No. Do I know him personally? No. But I remember, because people were like, I can't believe that would happen. I'm like, I mean, if it was random tourists, he'd probably been fine with it.
So I totally lost.
We're
what
going
we
to
were talking
L's.
about.
We were on L's now.
To transition from dubs to L's, a shot that I liked, but it's like this shot is really cool and shows that the shot is very visually interesting, and it shows that Trevorrow has an idea of what a good shot looks like, but also this shot means nothing in context. I'll show you the shot I'm talking about. It's a shot of now I'm totally forgetting the character's name, the Nedry knockoff. Lowry is this shot of him on the phone. It's very shadowy. You see him, he's like standing next to a window and you see his reflection.
Oh.
Like it's like a very, like it's like not, like a lot of these shots in this movie, a lot of Hollywood movies are very flatly shot. This is actually interesting on a lighting perspective. The fact that he's mirrored, like this is an interesting shot if you had someone on a phone call, a very emotional phone call, a very like, they don't know what to think. They're like there's a lot of things that this could communicate visually. This shot, it also feels like something that would be in a scarier film. Like suddenly the movie feels scarier just because of the way this scene is
Like you're
lit.
expecting the raptor to show up.
But it is just, I think in a more comedic scene, like Lowry has nothing going on. There's nothing emotionally conveyed by this shot. It's just a cool shot, which I think really wraps up Jurassic World of it can be cool, but it's rarely meaningful. So to transition into L's, that's how I feel about a lot of the movie. There's a lot of scenes on the opposite end that just are flatly shot. They like you cannot come into a series that was directed by Spielberg where he is so good with like I think of like even doing small things that mean a lot. As they're landing on the island, Grant is failing to tie his seatbelt because he has two female ends and he makes it work. An allusion towards two females mating. That when they're on the quote unquote ride, showing them the scientists in the process of making the dinosaurs, the three of them work together to get out of the ride. They didn't need to include that, but it's a nice little detail of humans find a way to break out. They will do it. These are nice little moments of like he's creatively doing things. The whole Mr. DNA scene of the animation to explain the way to do all of the crazy technical exposition to explain how these dinosaurs are made is done in an incredibly entertaining way, as opposed to our introduction to the Indominus Rex is Maserati and Claire literally just standing in a room talking about it. That's it. Zero visual information. You do not need to be like we talked about earlier. You don't need to be looking at this movie. You probably should be looking at this movie because in this scene, there's nothing conveyed. It's kind of interesting when you see it like camouflaged and moving through. But as far as information, we're being told how smart it is. We're being told how scary it is. Seeing zilch. The build up to the raptors in the original film where you're not seeing them. It eats the guy at the beginning. The way that they attack, you see the cow lowered down and it comes back and it's all destroyed. These are great little moments. That the near identical scene in Jurassic Park where they're talking to Muldoon about the raptors. The way Muldoon talks about the raptors makes them scary because you look at him and you know, oh, man, if he says they should all be killed, believe like the performance there. It's not even necessarily visual performance. It's also out in broad daylight. It's in a real space. It really feels like Maserati and Claire are standing in a room staring at a green screen. That just bugs the crap out of me.
And I feel like that leads into my L. I can't even remember the name. The guy who's constantly hounding Owen to use the raptors.
Yes,
in
a character I always forget is in this movie.
Works for InGen, I think.
Yes. The character's name is Vic Hoskins. The absolute crime here is he's played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who is an incredible actor, probably more recently very famous for playing Kingpin in the Daredevil show, but he was also in Full Metal Jacket and Men in Black. Incredible actor, horribly underused here.
Yeah, his job in this movie is, Owen, can we use the velociraptors to see that your training is good so that way we can use them for the military? That's the whole bit. And even like his rewatching it, his death feels very flat. He comes out of nowhere, he's like, oh, he's like antagonizing them at the same time while the park has literally fallen apart. Everyone's been antagonized, and then he gets got by one of the velociraptors. And I think he tries to do the hand thing that Owen did, but obviously he's got no reaction to them. Wu escapes as usual with no repercussions. That man needs to be... That man has probably violated so many international laws. Yeah, I learned nothing. It takes him 6 movies to learn something.
I could maybe excuse the whole. I've also forgotten the character's name immediately. Vic, the whole Vic storyline. Vic Hoskins about him wanting the raptors for the military. I could potentially excuse it if it paid off at all in a sequel. Yep. If it actually came, it never does though. The next one is about selling the raptors, but to private people. So it's just this conversation that keeps being had in this movie that it would be more interesting if Chris Pratt was the one who wanted him for that. And if he had that opinion and his opinion changed, you would actually have some growth in this movie. A character would change in a meaningful and interesting way. Because
outside of, oh, maybe we do see something in each other, even though our first date failed. And then I think they're broken up in the next film anyways. I think.
Yeah, the classic Hollywood thing of you get them together at the ending and they're broken up by the next film.
Yeah.
I like Chris Pratt when he's being used well. I mean, coming out of 2014, I was all about him. His performances in Parks and Rec. Or is it Community? I can never remember. It's Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec, Lego Movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. Incredible performances. He's so funny. He also does the action well. It made a lot of sense to put him in this part. He's giving off really strong
Harrison Ford vibes.
This movie has zero clue how to use him. This movie thinks he can be charming, and he's not charming when he's trying to be charming. He's charming when the character's overconfident and can't really back it up. Exactly. Like, Star-Lord is so good for him. Star-Lord works because the guy is overconfident and clearly kind of a goofball. He's also really good in something like Parks and Rec where he's a lovable doof. He's neither of those here. He's just great at everything. He's never wrong. He never messes up at anything. And it's so boring and it's so unfortunate. I think he is... They are trying to combine Grant and Malcolm into one, but he does not have the interesting. It's the guy who...
With a hint of Muldoon and Roland Tembo.
Sure, yeah, just roll them all into one, and it doesn't have anything that's interesting about any of those characters. Muldoon was the one who was the voice of reason as far as how dangerous the dinosaurs were themselves, and he knew these things are dinosaurs, they're dangerous, but they needed him because he's the only one who could hunt them.
Yeah.
Grant knew about the dinosaurs and was a warning about the dinosaurs themselves. Malcolm was a warning about just the chaos of this whole thing in general, and he's the cool guy. Grant is the nerd, and Muldoon's the hunter. They try to wrap all that into one, and it all gets lost. All the interesting character details. This is what I said when we did our review of Jurassic Park 1, is that what's interesting about that movie is there is not a hero character, a traditional hero character. There is not a big star.
I think the T-Rexes, though.
Yeah, sure. So I think Chris Pratt is kind of a fail. And then it only gets worse. Like, to keep bringing him back is so uninteresting. The one argument you can make for the Jurassic Parks trilogy is there is not a consistent lead, and that kind of makes each movie different. Mm-hmm. To keep bringing Chris Pratt back is so boring. Please.
I was going to say, we totally didn't mention that Claire is played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Strong connection to Star Wars.
Directed a lot of Star Wars stuff.
That, retroactively, the only thing I find interesting about her character is that she became a director.
Yeah.
Just like how, I'm totally blanking on his name, the actor who played Hammond was himself also a director, which made him an interesting to play that part. Now,
do you think maybe after this, she went, oh gosh, I need to figure out how to direct?
You definitely saw her go do a lot less acting after this and a lot more directing.
It was really just kind of the rest of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But while she is not Hammond directly, she's in a Hammond-esque role, and
she's even dressed in white.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just think, wow, it is interesting that she became a director in that way, and it gives a little more extra interesting meta textual element to her character. Outside of that, I think horrendous character. Super boring. If you're going to complain about any female element of this film, it's her. I think she's doing her best. I don't blame her as an actress. It's the way the part is written. Well, I just don't find her compelling whatsoever.
It's also hard because they put her down the exact same path of Alan Grant in the first film.
Yeah.
I don't really like kids stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe I do want kids. It's been done. And
it's done, and it's not so over. It's also the movie, I don't know. I would make the argument that Jurassic Park is about Grant coming to begrudgingly like these two specific kids.
Yeah.
And Claire's storyline is, I'm too busy to be a mom, but she clearly wants to be a mom. And this movie convinces her to settle down and have kids.
Yeah.
The movie feels like she should be a mom. Grant's story is this guy found you would not blame Grant if that movie ended and he still hated kids. Mm-hmm. It's a character growth that he's a good guy and he comes to like kids. Yeah. Bryce Dallas Howard, it feels like the movie's like she's wrong for not liking kids.
He's corporate girl boss.
It's I just find it's not the same. Then this movie consistently shows that it does not understand Jurassic Park.
Well, and she's also at the very end. So they have evacuated people off the island. They're basically almost like a Red Cross kind of situation with all the other park goers. Her sister and husband show up and collect their kids, and I'll talk about them later in the but she sees Owen across the room and they approach each other and she's like, so what do we do now? And this comment made me want to vomit. I vomited in my mouth a little bit because Owen's like, we stick together for survival. I was just like, ugh. I don't know. It just, the way they went through something very traumatic. They're trauma bonded now. But you know what? Mm-hmm. I think if a man said that to my face after such an event, I would be like, I think we're done. I think we're done.
What about if a man said to you, they're animals, they need to eat, they need to sleep, they need to...
Oh, okay, yeah, that would have been the second one.
You can relate to at least one of those, can't you?
I heard... I wonder why that first date didn't go too well. But so, because my thought would be if someone asked me, if Claire asked me that, if I was like her assistant that was still magically alive, what do we do now? I'd been like, I don't know, man. Start updating our resumes and looked on LinkedIn, because we're done. We're not getting hired anywhere ever again. Yeah.
So, do you have any? I would like to close talking about the climactic scene.
That's fine. Yeah.
Originally, I loved it. And on the
Same.
surface, it's fun. It's Raptors versus the I-Rex, and they bring in the original Rexy, and the Raptors team up with Rexy to take down the Adonis Rex.
Yeah.
And then they back up the Adonis Rex towards the water, and the
Mosasaurus.
the Mosasaurus grabs it and pulls it in the water.
And she said, "No one fed me today."
Theoretically incredible. Now, at this point, I'm just checked out. And it's all CGI. Mm-hmm. It's free-floating CGI camera. I just don't think... I think my opinion originally, upon trying to watch the movie for the second time back in 2015, of this movie only works once. I think that's true.
I think that's correct.
I think everything in this film works exactly one time.
I wonder if they were trying to do that. There's there's always a bigger fish. Like, that's the vibe they were trying to get.
Yeah,
like, there's always a bigger fish. It doesn't matter. Or, nature's unpredictable. It's chaos theory. Who could have guessed that the Mosasaurus would have jumped 4 feet out of its fence?
Sure.
That thing was like 50 feet long. I probably could have imagined that. I was also kind of thinking, that thing's got some good eyesight.
Fair.
Was it just hanging out? Do you think it could hear? And it was like, man, I hope something falls in.
Man, I don't know. I got nothing for you.
You don't know the intricacies of Mosasaurus thoughts?
I do not.
I did have a thought. I feel like just kind of goes into the climax. I don't know. It's just dinosaurs were not meant to exist at the same time as iPhones.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. I just had that thought. They're just not meant to exist at the same time as like TikTok and Instagram. Can you imagine you're on this island, you're not a main character, but you manage to survive the lawsuit? You start posting all these like horrific videos to your Instagram. It'd be crazy because this is a well-known
freaking die.
This is a well-known resort. Obviously, there are people with cell phones, and they're able to get service out there. It's just
true, which is not realistic to me. Though maybe they, I guess
Didn't they say there was didn't they plug Verizon, or was it Horizon?
I think there was a joke. I think that the company at the beginning that was talking to Claire about sponsoring the next dinosaur is Verizon.
Yeah.
I think. On that same topic, I did forget to write it down. The one funny moment that Lowry has is when he starts listing off the potential dinosaur names if they were sponsored. I'm trying to find it. I do think that is actually funny, because what he does is he complains about the idea of the dinosaur being presented by Verizon. Is this it?
Wireless presents the Indominus Rex.
Oh, that is so terrible. Why not just go the distance, Claire, and just let these corporations name the dinosaurs? They've got all the ballparks. Why stop there?
Why are the West Plains closed?
Another Packy roaming outside his zone.
It'll get to
He's
it in just a
fully
second.
sedated and ready for relocation.
Pepsi-saurus.
Security
Tostito-don.
invisible kind.
I think that's funny. That's funny. He delivers it well. Those are funny. It's clever.
It's a very subtle muttering when you think you have a really funny joke and you just keep going with it and everyone else moves on.
This podcast? Okay, so that's the last dub is a muttering little decent joke.
Tostito-don.
The best thing of any movie. The hmms. A small one. Claire, just like, I don't remember exactly this. I have it written down. She's walking through the main lobby area, and she's talking. She's talking to the CEO people from Verizon, and she just spins the DNA thing, and it's just nothing. It's nothing. Like, she just does it, and it's such a worthless moment. It's like, why does she just spin the DNA hologram? Like, she just whoop, and it's just really worthless, and it really bugged the crap out of me because it was so worthless, which is this movie. Anyways, what are you saying?
If I had a nickel for every dinosaur park tragedy that brought back together divorced parents, I would have 2 nickels, because the first one were the Kirbys in Jurassic Park 3. It was very clearly implied that they were going to get back together. The main personal issue for the 2 brothers is that they have been sent to their aunt Claire for the park, and they're going to divorce. Like, you actually kind of get this, you kind of see it, like, as the brothers kind of heal their own relationship, too, because you have an older one who's like, well, I'm just going to leave, so it's not going to impact me, and a younger brother who's, like, watching his family get torn apart. And I felt like it was pretty kind of implied that this is all, like, this weird emphasis on family, not only for Claire, but for her 2 nephews, is also going to, like, make sure that it ensures that the kid's parents stay together. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's already happened. Is this what happens when you go to a Jurassic Park and there's an incident and if your parents are divorcing? Do you think there were any other couples on the brink of divorce that got back together after this?
We saw a dramatic drop in divorces in the United States every time there's a new Jurassic Park.
But a significant increase in dinosaur-related PTSD.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm like, it just happened in the 3rd film.
Yeah.
So if you, I don't know, fan of the franchise, if you watched all 3 movies in preparation for Jurassic World, you would have gone straight from Jurassic Park 3 to Jurassic World and been like, I've seen this story before.
That's a really good point. We haven't talked about the kids. I do totally agree with you. I will say, in contrast to my own memory, I felt like the brother dynamic worked better than I remember.
Yeah, I think so too.
I almost wish the movie was more focused on them. Like, I do think this is consistently the issue with Jurassic Park sequels is they try to hedge their bets and try to show too many characters and don't know which characters to focus on. And it only gets worse. There are so many human characters in the last one. It's ridiculous. I know the part they really want to have your adventure character and your corporate character, but like, I think because by time, I think the issue is they rushed through the brother development. So by time they had to do the exact same thing with the daughter in Lost World. There's no logical reason for her to be around during the San Diego bit. So her character has to be wrapped up by the end of the 2nd act.
Yep.
And it fails spectacularly. It's kind of the same here. They are around, but there's no time for their character development to keep. I think this movie kind of thinks there's no room for character development in the 3rd act. So they speed run the brother element. And I do think it works for the first 2 acts. I honestly think that the older brother, seeing that his younger brother's having a hard time and turning around and being nice to him and like building him up works. Yeah. I do think going back to the very flatly shot elements, there's a part where they're working on the truck and it's just them standing there in the woods and only the older brother talks and the younger brother doesn't say anything.
They're talking about fixing the Jeep with Grandpa or something, right?
And I feel like it was done in reshoots because it's only the close-ups of them. It's literally, you don't see any environment. You only see the trees and only the brother talks. The younger brother never, barely says anything. It's just bizarre. Go ahead.
I will give them credit. Yeah, honestly, they were more enjoyable than I remembered. Mm-hmm. I will give them credit. I did find it funny. It was before, I think, right before they sent out the Raptors to go to the Indominus, and they're all in the truck. Mm-hmm. And the kids go, oh, we want to, it's Owen, Claire, and the kids are like, oh, we want to stay with you. And she goes, oh my gosh, I'm never leaving you again. And they go, no, we want to stay with Owen. I just thought I
find the quips pretty mediocre most of the time, but I think they are hit or miss. On the same note, I'm now remembering another element of the visual effects of this movie that does not work for me. I know we're supposed to be in hymns, but the more I think about it, the more things. While I was watching the movie, I just kind of was blanking out, but it's all coming, kind of washing back to me all the things I didn't like about this movie. What I kept talking about, what I love about the original film, and I know. After listening to last week's episode, I was like, man, I really keep comparing these sequels to the first film. But that's the issue with making these kind of sequels is I think what works about Jurassic Park 3 is it's not trying too hard to replicate Jurassic Park 1. It is kind of just, we're just going to make a dinosaur movie. That's great. This movie is very obviously trying to replicate Jurassic Park 1. That's the failure of any sequel, is trying too hard to replicate the original that you are not nearly as good as.
Kind of like Force Awakens.
Any sequel that draws comparison, that's your fault, not mine. I'm happy to judge a sequel on its own merit. That's why I love Last Jedi. Last Jedi works really great as I think it also works as a Star Wars sequel, but I think it also works great as its own movie. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Solo. This movie's inviting the comparison, so it wants me to compare the two. What works so well in Jurassic Park 1 is that they find really clever ways for the humans...
Clever girl.
Clever film? Clever director? Clever Spielberg? They find clever ways for the dinosaurs and humans to interact physically, normally through an intermediary. Through gates getting pushed over, through cars getting turned. Rarely does it ever feel like the dinosaurs and humans occupy the same space. They're never physically interacting. Even when the Anonymous Rex picks up the sphere that the boys are in, it always feels like two actors just yelling, not really reacting to a real thing.
And I feel like there's one scene, it's right before the raptors get released. It's like Owen's assistant is like petting one of the raptors, and it's like cage. And that even, I don't think that was practical.
So I found it in the film reel. There's a physical thing he's petting,
but it's like the green screen thing. It's like it's
well,
like,
the physical thing was just a mold.
Exactly.
It's not the actual thing you are seeing is pure CGI.
Yeah.
And also its head is in a vice, so it's like even if it was practical, it's not that impressive. Like the incredible shot from Jurassic Park 1 is when Grant lays on the Triceratops and it breathes and he goes up and down and oh, the woman's name from Jurassic Park 1. Totally blanking on her name. When Ellie Sattler is like picking at its tongue and she reacts, she goes, ugh, and she wipes it on her shirt. Like that, and they flash the flashlight in its eyes and the pupils dilate. All of that feels like, man, that is a real dang dinosaur that they have there. And there's no moment like that. Even when Claire and Owen are with the downed dinosaur and that is a fully practical head, it has barely any life to it. I think that's a fine moment, but it's not anywhere near
So are you saying Jurassic World viewed the dinosaurs as assets versus Jurassic Park, which viewed them as animals?
That is the thing, is there's a moment.
It's full circle.
I mean, here's a fully comprehensive analysis of this film. Early on, Claire is saying people want more. People get bored of the same dinosaurs. They need more. They need bigger. They need badder. They need more teeth. That is obviously the film. Jurassic Park, the original one and this one are clearly about the status of Hollywood when the film is coming out. Okay, fine. Criticize major Hollywood films about and sequels and reboots. You are the thing that you are criticizing. This film
become the very thing you swore
so
to
like
destroy.
you it's kind of the film is trying to wink at the audience, but it's the movie is very much the thing that it is trying to criticize, and it's bad at it.
They said, not us, though.
Because I guess that also weirdly is the point of the final battle is, oh, we made this big new dinosaur, but the original will always be better than the new one. So you're making an argument against your own film? That's bizarre. Don't like it. I think there are decent things about this movie. I think I gave it a little less credit than it deserved, but
It's hard.
Here's the
Watch them
question.
all together.
How does it compare to you compared to Lost World? Better or worse?
Oh, gosh.
I have it's a hard question to
I
answer.
don't know.
I think the things I like in this movie, I like more than Lost World, but the things that I hate about Jurassic World, I hate more than Lost World.
I don't know. After reading the book, I really hate Lost World.
That's fair. I see. I haven't done that.
I still might have to rank this one above Lost World.
That's interesting. Yeah, I see.
I don't know. Well, if I had to think about if I was on a streaming service, which ones I've actually gone back and rewatched, it's always been the originals.
Yeah. But I see, for me, I have gone back and rewatched this one. I only rewatched Lost World because of this podcast, and I really had a hard time. I think what I will say is Lost World is so nasty and mean and unpleasant through the whole thing. I honestly, I still would rather watch Chris Pratt than Goldblum in Lost World. I still will take Bryce Dallas Howard over Sarah Harding is the character's name. I'll take these two kids over the kid in Lost World. I do think the climax. I think Also, Lost World just feels so long. Let me compare the runtime.
It
I'm
feels
curious.
so long. It really does.
So Lost World is 2 hours and 9 minutes, and Jurassic World is 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Wow, versus Jurassic Park 3, which is like an hour and a half.
Yeah. Man, I mean, JP3 is... my new opinion is that it is the only good Jurassic Park sequel, and I will stand by that. And I think it's very effective. Man, I think it's close, but I think I will weirdly put Jurassic World 3 over Lost World. Even though Lost World is a Steven Spielberg film, and it should be way better, Jurassic World is not great, but it's fine. Lost World, I think, is actively bad.
Yeah.
But, you know... They're both bad in their own way. And you know what? You can blame Jurassic World for its own sequels that are so much worse than Lost World. Finishing on I found the scene I was talking about with Claire. It's way worse than I even remembered. So she's talking to the Verizon execs. She asks them what they're looking for, and here's what happens.
We want to be thrilled.
Don't we all?
She turns around to a TV screen, spins the
No
DNA,
reason for that.
and starts talking about the Indominus Rex. Why did you just spin that DNA on a touch
Imagine
screen?
it was just like a Pachysaur. It was just like a compy or something.
It wasn't even like she spun it. It's probably the CGI artist. It was probably supposed to reveal something. And what we got was just her spinning a strand of DNA and then talking about a dinosaur. It's so... I even oversold it in my head because I thought it was a hologram. It's not even as cool as a hologram. It's just a TV screen. Mm-hmm. It's such a... why that happen scene. What else you got on
I got one more.
Okay.
And it's the scene that Owen and Claire find all the apatosaurs dead. The herd, when he's like, it's killing for sport. Mm-hmm. It might just be me, but I've always thought it was interesting that every single one of those animals died so close together.
The rest didn't run off.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I
a good
have
point.
always, so think about it. Okay, so the Indominus is fast, but even if it were to ambush one, grab one, it's still going to have to kill it.
Yep.
And this wasn't a one and done. These animals were torn up.
Yeah.
Like they're scratched up, all these things. They weren't eaten. So unless they've never, actually, if they had kept the predator and prey animals isolated, they might not have actually known what to do. If they had never encountered a prey animal or a predator, that might be why they stuck around. But either way, they were all very close. You would almost... So apatosaurs, they have very thin tails. Like I'll pull up. You see this tail? It's like a whip.
Oh, yeah.
It's like defense.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fairly certain they could do it with such speed it could break bones.
Dang.
But it's their defense. So maybe if they had all huddled up to try and they were just outwitted, maybe. But I don't know. It's just always something because they reveal the hillside and they're all like dead, like 40 feet apart.
Yep. No, I agree. That's a good note, I think. I just have Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon is always a
Yeah.
He shows up as an on-screen instruction.
Which
not funny.
It did make me think of the book when they're talking about whoever did the voice for the Cars. John Hammond was like, "That's a very popular person. Spares no expense."
Yeah. My other is also we didn't really have a lot of positives to say about acting. We didn't talk about this one performance who's I think by default the MVP, Wu. BD Wong,
BD Wong.
given a just going for it on acting, but he has a couple of lines that because he's going so hard for it, and the line is so ridiculous, it's a, if I don't innovate, somebody else will, and also nothing in Jurassic World is natural. It's just so on the nose. I'm also of when I think it's the scene where what's his face? I gotta remember the character's name. Maserani, the new owner, is criticizing Wu for going way overboard with the Dynamis Rex and making him too dangerous. And Wu is like, you wanted this. You wanted it bigger. You wanted it better. Cooler is what I thought you said in your memo. It's just like everything Wu says is such this big dramatic moment. But
It's almost like his crash out 20 years later.
Yeah.
He said, this happened before.
Probably not a great note to end on, but I did want to also talk about Maserani as another example of why this movie is so confused. Maserani is the straight comparison to Hammond. He's the owner. He asks about, how are my animals? No, how are they feeling? What are their emotions?
Are they enjoying life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, they're trying to make it out that he's like not evil, that he cares about the animals and the dinosaurs, but he also refuses to have the Dynamis Rex killed. And
until it's too late.
He gets in the helicopter and flies it out of a kind of a prideful thing. He turns to the soldiers like, did your general ever ride into battle with you? And it's not his fault that they crashed per se, but it is like the whole thing is his fault. So the movie is trying to have this like likable guy, but it's also it's the whole problem again of guy who's overconfident and this park should never exist, and so his own hubris is the reason all these people die. And he just dies halfway through anyway, so there's not any character development. Like the final shot of Hammond in the first film was hunched over in the helicopter looking at the mosquito and his cane is such an incredible final shot. Maserati doesn't get anything like that. I don't know. Do you have any opinions on this character? I find him very confusing, and he really resembles that the movie doesn't know what it's about.
Yeah, just misutilized.
Yeah, and I think the performance is pretty good.
Oh yeah, like as a performance, he was.
I think he's a very famous Bollywood actor. His name is where is he? Man, how is he not higher? There he is. Irfan Khan. I think at the very least that maybe is a famous family. Life of Pi, which is an American British film, but yeah, he's a Bollywood actor. So I think he does a good job. It's just the character is very. I think it's okay to. I don't want to sound like I don't like characters who have complicated motivations. I think Hammond is a very complicated character. He's both this extreme capitalist, but he's also an idealist and a visionary, and those things are in contrast. That he wants to have this very profitable adventure, but he also has that whole like it. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
It almost would have been interesting because he's got this connection to John Hammond, like through his dad. It almost would have been interesting if maybe the movie had thrown him into the wilderness and the CEO. I mean, maybe you kind of get a little bit of that with Ludlow in Lost World, but it's fairly cushy for Peter Ludlow.
Yeah.
So if maybe he had his heroic moment of going out to the Indominus cage when they thought it was escaped, and then he ended up in the wilderness with Claire or Owen.
Yeah.
That could have been some interesting character development, just keeping him around to have him realizing that, yes, this is a crazy cool park that you've built, but you've fallen into the same fallacy that John Hammond did.
Yeah, I guess anything. I guess we are complaining that there's too many characters, so getting rid of a character halfway through would theoretically be a good idea, but the time we spend with him in the first half kind of feels wasted. On the other hand, you do need to have characters you're willing to kill, but like Muldoon's death doesn't feel like a waste. Nedry's death doesn't feel like a waste. There is a way to build up a character and kill them and make it still feel meaningful. And this movie just... The character never learns anything, and he never grows, and also his death doesn't prove anything.
Well, I feel like especially with Nedry, you're like, oh my gosh, you don't want Nedry to steal the embryos. You want him stopped. You want someone to stop him. He's going to sabotage the park.
Yeah.
And then the way he goes, you're almost like, oh man.
That's true.
I wanted him stopped, but I don't know if I wanted him like that.
Have you seen the fan art of his death from the book?
Yes, with him hanging from the mouth.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's awful.
I've managed to get the Rebels and Robots Instagram like algorithm
curated to dinosaurs.
and I'm getting a lot of it
for you.
It's been wild. So I think I've had actually a lot more fun talking about this movie than I thought, because I think what's come out of our talk is it's hard to say anything good about this movie without bringing up anything bad. But also, anytime we have something bad to say, we also inevitably came around to something good as well. So this movie is very complicated in that any given element is kind of a mixture of things.
Perhaps.
I think that's probably a product of, this is probably like 5 screenplays.
Yeah, perhaps mid.
And it doesn't have a particular vision. It doesn't have I don't think it's horribly riddled with sequel bait, but it still is very much there regardless. And it's trying too hard to be a sequel to the original one. It's trying too hard to be a new thing, trying too hard to be the first of a trilogy, and it's not good at any of them. I mean, as always, I'm okay with a movie having sequel bait if that then sequel is good and it makes that first one better. I think Force Awakens and Last Jedi, for example, are a great combination to each other, and they make each other better.
I agree.
The bad Jurassic World sequels make this movie worse. If the Jurassic World sequels were good, that would make this movie better because it would set them up. It doesn't set them up properly. Those movies are horrible. But I don't know, maybe I'll have a massive difference of an opinion. I don't know. We'll see. I doubt it.
I hope Rebirth's good.
I do too. That takes us to Meme Minute, but it's longer than a minute.
Yeah,
but is it longer than a meme parsec or meme astrosecond?
It's going to be longer than a minute this week.
How many you got?
Double digits.
All right, let's go. Come on, let's do it.
When you're finally discovering how to love yourself and then your barber destroys you, and it's a picture of Mothma with that awful bob at the end of Andor. And then tend banned weapons too brutal for war. It's a picture of Mechagodzilla throwing Godzilla.
Good stuff. Just feel free to keep going. I only have a couple, so I'll just interrupt when I want to.
I bring a sort of condemned to use the tools of my enemy vibe to the rebellion that the Rebel Council don't really like. It's a picture of Luthen.
Oh, I'm a big fan of that meme format of the I bring a certain vibe. It's good.
Picture Jack Daniels with the bracket. I promise I won't get too political, and it's a screenshot of Saw Gerrera's Rhydonium monologue from Andor.
Very good.
I am going to create an interrogation that is so extra. I think it's a scene from Glee with the coach.
Okay.
With, if you've been on the internet for a while, you understand the meme format with Krennic's head over hers. This one might be one of my favorites of this week. Supervisor Legrette in the ISB Central office after Deidre was arrested and hurt. Partagaz and Lonnie ended up dead.
Oh, I didn't realize it's photoshopped.
It's photoshopped.
So, what was that character's name?
So, Supervisor Legrette.
Yeah, photoshopped over Will Smith from the very ending of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, just standing in the empty room. That's good. This is just this obligatory, purely visual meme. So, you've got the photo, the screenshot of Andor shooting the guy and Mothma screaming. Well, someone's taken that and made it into The Scream, the famous painting.
This is good.
It's really clever. What do you got?
There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you. And it's Luthen Rail's face over that old roast gift where all the guys are like, "Wah!" Is kind of my reaction to that line.
I like it. This is just a funny screenshot of there's probably the Wikipedia entry for K2SO. So they have, as most people probably know, there are official written ways of how the characters are pronouncing the droid's name, like 3PO spelt out THREEPIO and R2 is ARTOO. There's 4 different spellings for K2SO.
God.
K2SO or K2SO or K2SO or K2SO. Or abbreviated to K2, parenthesis K2 or K2 or K or K. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different names in how to pronounce them. Hysterical. What do you got next?
Me, snooze button.
That's good.
Picture Krennic with his finger on Deepan's
Simple. It's clean. I like it. I got, so I'll start alternating now because I realized I had more than I thought.
Okay.
Saw Gerrera is the funniest Star Wars character because he looks like a completely different guy every time they show up. And this is somewhere between, so it's a montage of him.
Oh my gosh.
Somewhere
yes.
between 18 and 14 BBY, he got hit with a laser that turns you into Forrest Whitaker.
Nice.
What else you got?
So what happens when you smell Rhydonium and turns into Forrest Whitaker.
Yep.
This is meme format from Thor Ragnarok that you can't. Edie card, you can't defeat me. Cyril, I know, but she can't teach Ramiro.
Very good.
That's pretty good. Palpatine watching as Axis is lost. The ISB collapses. The Death Star plans are stolen. Krennic and Tarkin die. Obi-Wan vanishes and the Death Star is destroyed within 2 days.
And wow, it's a lot.
And a lot happened to his small business is tough.
Melshi not knowing that Cassian used a fake name on Arcana 5 is made funnier when you imagine him going around Yavin asking people if they know a guy named Geef Corgo.
That's good. This is a picture of Cyril looking at Coruscant from space. So imperialism is just a machine that devours even its most devoted servants in order to maintain class control through violence. DJ Miro behind him holding a gun to his head. Always has been. Krennic behind her holding a gun to her head. Always has been. Tarkin behind him holding a gun to his head. Always has been.
Love it. So this is a retweet of a meme we previously had on the podcast where it was SpongeBob in like a dark hallway and said Lonnie every time he meets Luthen. And someone retweeted that, a guy named at Cam and Film. So kind of a funny...
Are you two-time in this podcast?
No, I'm not. He said, New Galaxy's Edge ride where you get in a dodgy elevator and it drops you down until you reach the bottom, and then Luthen animatronic talks to you about the rebellion for 20 minutes.
I'd do that ride. Is a picture of Bail Organa reading a book, and it just says Padme Amidala's Guide to Using Decoys. It's the original Bail actor.
Oh, implying that the other actor is a decoy. Fun side note. Today I started watching the show Poker Face, which is created by Ryan
Lady
Johnson.
Gaga.
No, nothing to do with Lady Gaga. It's Ryan Johnson, writer and director of
Last Jedi.
It has the new Bail Organa in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Not Chris Pratt.
Smith?
Benjamin Bratt.
No, Benjamin Bratt.
Right. Playing a totally different character.
Oh,
he's like an enforcer guy who's killing people. It's crazy. He's great at it. Obligatory, not a meme, just a screenshot of a background character, I think from Andor season 2. I'm guessing this is on...
I think that's on Gorman.
Oh, yeah, it's probably on Gorman. There's a guy sitting at a cafe table, and he has a sloth creature for a pet, but it is...
That would be me. That would be me in Star Wars. I would be taking Athena to the outdoor cafes. Oh, she's right there. The last time I saw her, she was in the corner of the room.
Hi, Athena.
You keep holding your hand down, and every time she walks by, she looks like she's going to like rub against it, but you move your hand each time. See?
You want a pet friend? Aw.
Yeah, she does.
Aw. She wants food.
She does.
What you got?
It's just captioned, I'd follow him to hell and back, but I wish he'd just stop going there. And it's a picture of Clone Wars Rex and Anakin.
That's great.
It's good.
Another obligatory, not a meme. I was trying to show Allison a video. It was just a random video that popped up my feed, and it had original Mon Mothma in it from episode 6. So I wanted to show Allison what she really looked like. And when I paused it, this is what I paused on. It's the diagram, the hologram of the Death Star 2 around Endor, but Mothma's in the background, and the red Death Star hologram is right where her head should be. It's just a funny thing to stop on.
It's not an easy thing to admit when you're wrong, and that's why I won't do it. And it's Saw Gerrera's "You have no idea where I am" scene. Someone's taken a comic and spliced in some Star Wars words. It says,
Even when they're trying to compensate for it, experts in anything wildly overestimate the average person's familiarity with their field. Glub Shadow knowledge is second nature to us Star Wars fans, so it's easy to forget that average person probably only knows Biggs Darklighter and one or two Tognath Sentinels. In Plo Koon, of course. A normal person knows, obviously, Plo Koon and Biggs Darklighter, but...
This is the horrifying picture of K2SO carrying ISB Commander Hurt or whatever as a human shield. Hirt that he genuinely doesn't need because we know he's bulletproof already.
It's unnecessary, but it's great.
And it's just captioned, "The Empire is lucky that Chopper doesn't have long enough arms to pull this move off because he would have 100% done it on every episode of Rebels."
That's so good. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm out of images, but I think I have some videos. Give me just a second. I'm trying to... Here we go. Meme minute. It's Mr. Krabs sitting around the fireplace. Oh, it's a... we don't need the music. This is more of an image than a video. But my 45-year-old coworker telling me that he's working full time to provide for his 3 kids and pregnant wife, and then it's SpongeBob sitting wide-eyed and has Legos and Jurassic Park and Lord of the Rings and Star Wars toys and.
It's me and my supervisor talks about her family, and I'm over here like pre-order. Never been hated by someone I'd switch outfits with, and it's just a picture of Krennic from the art gallery scene in Andor season 2 with his little shit-eating grin.
Man, his outfits are good though. I cannot deny.
Are you hungry?
Sorry, I'm trying to write down a note, but my notes app is not working. Also, someone is just like dragging a dead body upstairs or something.
Well, there is no upstairs.
Oh no!
I am the upstairs.
Wait! Oh no! What is that? Okay, here's a video. Oh, okay. So I mentioned earlier that I got my algorithm as Rebels and Robots into Dinosaur Talk or Dinosaur Gram. And a lot of Dinosaur Gram right now, I guess, is just about complaining about what scientists have done to the Spinosaurus.
To the Spinosaurus? Oh my gosh.
Keep nerfing the Spinosaurus! What did he do? Was he too strong?
And it's pretty much turned the Spinosaurus, which is the big bad from Jurassic Park 3, which is pretty much like a T-Rex, but with a longer snout and a big fin on the back, to this like almost like...
very water-based.
Yeah.
Mostly water dwelling.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what kind of animal this looks like. It's very like walrusy.
It is. Very
it's just people crashing out on this is so funny.
It is really funny.
What do you got?
This is my last one.
Okay.
Learn to code. What? And end up like this guy? No thanks. Let's picture Dennis Nedry with the venom on his face.
That's good. This... The Gorman front members, after Val and Cinta specifically said not to bring guns. It's a gun. Here's another video.
Well, what's he doing?
So, okay, so this is Megatron and Bumblebee.
That's Optimus Prime.
I always do that for some reason.
Get out of
it's
my
Optimus Prime and Bumblebee spying on the Decepticons, but it's the audio from Lilo and Stitch.
Well, what's he doing?
Keep quiet. He's listening for us.
How good is his hearing?
They disappear. all the Decepticons appear behind them. When I refuse to let an app track my location.
You spies and
It's so funny. So
Used to
good.
be alive, I had learned to bend them as I wish. You have no idea where I am.
Perfect meme. Perfect meme. I'm gonna go
Okay.
yell at my neighbor.
I have one more image that it was my favorite image that I had this week, so I saved it for the end. And it is Senator Mothma in Cassian's safe house.
I almost took a screenshot of that a couple weeks ago.
It's Hillary Clinton walking
In that
into a very
random
normal,
apartment.
and she just looks. She's in an apartment. She looks confused as heck.
People live like this.
It's so real. It's good. And that's Meme Minute for the week. thank you for joining us for our first of 3 weeks of July-rassic World.
Yeah.
It started off better than I thought. This was actually a lot of fun to talk about. We talked about this for quite a while. This is still in the longer end of episodes for us, so we had plenty to talk about. Though we did spend a good amount of time of talking about people who were in Andor and
We did.
Chernobyl. Thank you. But still, a lot of Jurassic World talk. As always, thank you to Caleb Jacoby for our intro and outro music. Props to Rachel for bringing a long list of people who were both in Andor. Props to Athena for not biting me.
No, she's been very kind of affectionate tonight. It's kind of odd. Maybe maybe it's just her Wednesday attitude.
She's scheming.
She's gonna be sad when you don't show up in 2 days.
Oh no.
Props to Cameron for our Instagram and our Facebook.
Getting more dino memes in here.
That's all my Instagram.
That is what's fun about dinosaur memes is they are inherently Jurassic Park adjacent.
They're timeless, really.
Give us something to read on the pod. Let us know how do you feel about what's going on with the Spinosaurus. Is this the end of dinosaurs as we know it? This is Cameron and Rachel. Okay. This is Cameron.
Don't speak for me.
Oh, wait, I just remembered. Okay, I was considering just ending the podcast mid. Sentence. Just not doing the sign off anymore. But also, we could do Cameron and Rachel signing off saying, nothing in Rebels and Robots is natural.
Oh.
If we don't podcast, someone else will. If we don't podcast, Athena will. This is Cameron and Rachel signing off saying, listeners want our podcast to be bigger, louder, more Athena. Good night, everyone.